Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with the next update for my Panda palette. I'm very excited to share with you where I am with this palette this month. I feel like I have some pretty good progress on some shades. Some shades are definitely neglected though. So yeah, I'm gonna go over all of that in a second, but yeah, I'm pretty happy still with where I am with my palette this month. But before I jump into the actual palette, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So unless you're new to my channel, you probably know that I am panning my Modern Renaissance palette this year. I've been working on this since January and I want to move this one out this year. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with the progress that I have this month, but before I show you where I am now, this is where I was last month. So you can see that I already have quite a lot of use on the palette, but I definitely feel like it looks even more used by this month. So this is actually where I am today. So you can see my palette right here. And let me go through each shade in order. So the first shade in the palette, Tempera, was already finished, as you can see. I finished that in the third month, so that's been gone for quite a while now. Then next to that we have Golden Ochre, and Golden Ochre was one of my kind of focus shades this month. It was one that I wanted to finish up, and as you can see I was able to do so. I do have an empty pan there now as well. I have 3 empty pans right here, which is amazing to see. I'm definitely getting some progress on this palette, which is really great. And this past month it took me 17 uses to finish the rest of Golden Ochre. I'm very pleased with that. I mean, I was expecting to finish Golden Ochre anyway, but it did take quite a few uses. I used this quite a lot. It was like my main focus. I think I used it like in every single look for the beginning of the month, because I just wanted to move it out and I wanted to make sure that I would not kind of like push it towards the end of the month and then not actually finish it. So I did use it up and I'm very happy about that. So next to that we have Vermeer, which is another shade that I finished. I just showed you. That was actually the first shade I finished in the palette, and that was finished in the second month. So again, it's been gone for a while. Then we have the shade Bon Fresco. I did not use this one at all in the past month. I used to be focusing on other things, and I'm actually panning a mauve tone crease shade. I'm actually wearing that one today. So when I have been going for mauve tone creases, I've been going for that shade instead. It is a shade in my Pandos eyeshadows, so yeah, this one just haven't been used. Then we have the shade Antique Bronze, which I have used once. Not great. I'm gonna try to focus on this more in the next month, but again, not great. Then we have Love Letter, and again, I have not used this one. I have not focused on this one at all yet, really. I have 4 uses on it in total from the first month, but I've been focusing on Venetian Red instead, because I want to finish that one first before I move on to Love Letter. Then for the final shade on the top row we have Cypress Amber, and Cypress Amber I used once, so again not good. And I did actually set a goal of using this one quite a bit. I can't remember what I said, but I think even I said like I wanted to use it like 10 times, and obviously I wasn't able to do that. I have been focusing on other things, and again I have things that I'm panning that are a bit deeper that I've been focusing on instead of this one. But hopefully I can pick up my usage game on this shade in the next month, because I do really want to get some more movement on this shadow. I have a pan on it, I have some use on it, but I don't think I have enough use on it that I'm comfortable being halfway through the year. So I really do have to step up my usage game on this shade, and I have a way of doing that coming up, but we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, I will use this more, but only one use in the past month. For the second row we have another shade that I used once, and that is this shade right here, which is Raw Sienna. Raw Sienna I have not used at all for the longest time, but I used it once this past month because I finished Golden Ochre, and I kept saying that they were very kind of similar tones. Raw Sienna is just a bit deeper, but they also have like that kind of yellowness to it, and that one I'm going to start using more now when I have finished Golden Ochre. But it still does compete a little bit with Burnt Orange, which is the next shade, so I'm gonna have to alternate those two now, but hopefully I will start using Raw Sienna a bit more. Burnt Orange is a shade that I have had pretty consistent use on throughout the whole year, but this is actually the month that I have the least amount of use on it. I have 4 uses on it. I'm not sure if the pan expanded at all, maybe a little bit. You will be able to see better in the comparison pictures, but I think I was used to working on other shades. I've heard, because usually I paired Golden Ochre with Burnt Orange, and that's why I got so consistent use on this, because I used them together and I used those two as like my go-to crease shades. But I have been using a few shades from my Project Level Up palette, which is a Subculture, as my crease shade, and then blending those into Golden Ochre this past month, and that's why I only have 4 uses on Burnt Orange. But I'm not worried about this shade. I definitely think this will be done. Maybe not like in the next maybe 1 or 2 months, but definitely in like the next 3. I am going to focus in on this one though, because it is one that I know I can finish rather quickly. So yeah, I'm going to focus on this in the next month and definitely have more uses than 4. Then next to burnt orange we have the shade Primavera, which I have used quite a bit in the past month. It is the shade right here. I have 8 uses on it, so I mean not amazing, but when I do use it, I use it as a face highlighter. When I have used it this past month though, I think I've used it on its own maybe like twice or maybe 3 times max. The remaining uses I did use mixing with the highlighter I'm wearing today, which is my Merry Luminizer, because that one can be a bit light for me when I'm fake tanned, and Primavera is fine when I'm like freshly fake tanned, but as soon as it starts fading a little bit, this one is deep, so I mix the two, and that kind of makes a perfect in-between highlighter for me. This one I really like as a highlighter, so I'm probably going to continue using it that way, and maybe I can finish it the next month. I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to push it because it is again something that I know I can finish. I've talked about that throughout the whole year. So I'm just going to continue using it whenever I feel like using this. And maybe it'll be gone in the next update, but I think it's more likely it will be gone in the next 2. So we'll see how it goes, but that is the shade Primavera. Next to Primavera we have another shade that I only used once. I have a few that I used once this past month, and by that is Red Ochre. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to see any pan like expansion or anything, but I did use it once. Next to that though, we have a shade that I have really focused in on in the past month. I did not really think that I think I set a goal of using this a bit more, maybe like 5 times in the past month, because I did only use this shade once in the month before, so like the month leading up to last update. But I have reached for Venetian Red 11 times in the past month, and I definitely think you'll be able to see the pan expansion, especially comparing it to last month. This is a shade that when we had about a week and a half left of the month, I was like, maybe I can finish this shade and have like a surprise finish. So I really did kind of continue using this quite often, but obviously I didn't want to use it every single day. It's quite a bold shade. So towards like, I think it was maybe 5 days ago or something, I realized that I probably won't be able to finish this up, so I took a little bit of break from it. I'm wearing it today actually, so how I'll be using this a lot of time is actually as a base all over my lid, and that's also how I'm wearing it today. And then I blend that into like a mauve tone. Again, I'm not using Buon Fresco at the moment. I'm using that shade that I'm panning in my panels eyeshadows, which is from the Lilac You A Lot palette. And then I top it with a shimmer. Today I also deepened it up with another shade in my panels eyeshadow, which is like a really deep purpley mauve tone, and that's kind of how I get this look, and that's, like I said, how I use this most of the time. I do use it as an accent shade sometimes, but most of the time I do use it in that way, and that also means that I use quite a lot of eyeshadow each time I use it, and this one is definitely one that I do want to finish by next month. So next up we have the shade Warm Taupe, which is another one that I use really consistently every single month, because I do use this one in my eyebrows. In the past month I have 24 uses, and I do think the pan has expanded quite a bit again. I use this every month. It's nothing really exciting. I have around that kind of use every single month again, so I'm not going to dwell on about this shade, but I do use it in my eyebrows and it works really great for that. Then the last shade in the palette we have Realgar, or Realgar, how you say it, and this is like the orangey tone in the palette. I did use this one 6 times in the past month, and I do think the pan might have expanded a little bit. It's another shade that I want to focus in on a bit more, but I did focus more on Venetian Red this past month rather than Realgar, but hopefully I will be able to get some more use out of this one once I finish Venetian Red. So that is where I am with my palette now. I am really happy with the progress that I have, especially on some shades, but I think you know what I mean now, that some shades are definitely neglected in the past month. You can see again here that I finished Golden Ochre, which is amazing, and then the expansion on Venetian Red I believe is really large, which I am again so excited about, because this is a shade that I knew that I needed to move out relatively soon, because I also have Love Letter to focus on, which is a very similar shade, and I just knew that I need to move one of them out by approximately halfway through the year, which is now. Which is insane. We're halfway through the year now, which is, yeah, crazy. So definitely have that one done by next month. And then, yeah, the rest of them are not great, but hopefully I can get some more expansion on the other pans in the next month. So let's just go over my goals briefly for this palette. So I've already spoken about finishing Venetian Red. That's going to be my main goal. I really do want to move that one out in the next month, and I do think I can do that as well. Then we have my second goal, which is going to be again focusing on Cypress Amber. I really do need to move that shade out, or like get some more movement on it. Yes, so that's going to be my second goal. Then one thing that I do want to introduce moving forward in this project is I want to create like a focus shadow, not necessarily like hitting pan or like, you know, finishing up, but I do want to have like one focus shadow each month that rotates, that I want to use as much as I can, and I want to ideally use it at least like 10 to 15 times in a month. And like, you know, similar to how I did Venetian Red this month, I only used it 11 times, but at least around that number. And for this next month I have decided that I want to put in Antique Bronze as that focus shadow, and that is just to get as much use out of it as I can and just have something that I focus on, and hopefully then I can expand the pans pretty well like throughout this project with that focus shadow. So like, for example, like I said, this month I'm going to do Antique Bronze, maybe next month I'll do Cypress Amber or like Realgar, and then yeah, you know, I rotate through it, and then I can get some really good progress each month. I mean, I used Antique Bronze once in the past month, and if I use it like 10 to 15 times, that's going to be like, judging from this past month, that's going to be like 10 to 15 months of progress in 1 month, and that's why I want to do this. And it also might encourage me to reach for some shades that I don't reach for very often otherwise. Like the easy shades in this palette, I mean, I already used up the first 3, which are obviously the easier ones, but just this half of the palette here was like the easy part of the palette. It was the ones that I could like reach for all the time, like I don't have to think about it. Same as Warm Taupe. Realgar is again one that I can quite easily incorporate, not as easy as the other ones though, because it is a bit deeper, but the like some of the other shades, like, you know, Venetian Red, Antique Bronze, Love Letter, Cypress Amber and Bon Fresco, those are all shades that are not as easy for me. I mean, I can, because when I incorporate them they quite easily overtake a look, whereas like I said with the other ones, especially on this side here, they're more shades that I can complement the other eyeshadows that I have, and that's why they're so easy to reach for. So hopefully that makes sense. So I think those are going to be my 3 main focuses, and then again I just want to get as much use out of this palette as possible. But I think with that I'm going to wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know how you're doing with your panning projects down below, and otherwise I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys.